Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After Malvin hammered us pretty hard again in the now concluded background campaign for Hero Realms, we're going to debut a brand new game on the channel. Tonight we're going to play MAG-23 Guadalcanal from Historic Wings. After my previous experiences with book games, I was hesitant initially about featuring further book-based games on the channel. But this one seems different enough, though, as I have enough tangible media present with the maps and the counters and all of the reference sheets, that I won't be relying so heavily on theater of the mind. I've been playing this game to get a better feel for it before bringing it to the channel, so my squadron has taken a bit of damage. But let's take a quick look at our squadron. So far I have a total of 36 pilots in my squadron. Of that, I've got 2 dead already, 3 have taken serious wounds and ended up getting transferred out. 3 serious wounds and 2 have been killed. And a whole bunch of the pilots are injured at this point, which is what the lines represent, whether they were KIA or serious wounds and ended up getting transferred out, going to Espiritu Santo and then getting transferred out. So yeah, squadron's taken a bit of a beating, but we do have plenty of fuel to fly so far. I do need to be careful with the fuel I'm using, though. And that's one of the main focuses of this game, is really in the narrative. That you're building. So far, as you might be able to see, it's probably a little bit hard to tell, but my story has been one so far of pain and misery in Guadalcanal, where I've got, like I said, I've got the aforementioned 5 pilots either dead or transferred out. And we're going to be going to August 24th, 1942, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pilots who are otherwise unavailable to fly. So that's basically over half my squadron that I can't use right away, but nothing we can do about that. Anyway, enough rambling on that front. Let's move over to the main game area and see how everything looks on the final shot. Looking at my squadron, I've also got another group of SBDs, which is I believe that's a SBD Dauntless. That's a bomber crew doing from the USS Enterprise at the end of today's mission. So, just taking a quick look at everything here, I think we're all set. So let's go ahead and get into this playthrough and see how we do for August 24th, 1942. I'm going to be following this daily operations phases sheet, and I've got a die right here so I can track where I'm currently at in that procedure. The first thing we need to do is decide if we're going to fly a combat air patrol. And given that my Coast Watchers have not been reliable at all to this point in the campaign, well, not reliable I don't think is the way I want to put it. The reports aren't getting to me in time, to the point where I'm basically having to find my enemies with our faces. So, as much as I don't want to, I think we are going to have to fly a combat air patrol. We also need to roll for the weather, which will take us to... Would have helped if I had this open, but oh well. That will take me to this weather chart if the camera ever wants to focus for me. There we go. We'll be rolling on this weather chart to determine what our weather mods are in terms of the type of mission that we're going to be flying. So, for that, I need the dice tower and shot. We'll give this a roll. Two says we've got wind gusts, which will give us a... We've got wind gusts today, which will give us a -1 weather modifier. I'm just going to make some notes in my logbook. Wind gusts, -1 weather. And before I continue this, I should also mention that I'm going to be giving away MAG-23 Guadalcanal as part of my... once the channel crosses 300 subscribers. So, if you haven't already and you're subbed to the channel, go like the video, go like the 400th video on the channel, and leave a comment indicating if you're interested in the giveaway and a game that you've seen me unbox on the channel that you're interested in seeing me get onto the channel. So now I've got to start preparing for, we need to know the mission type that we're flying first. We roll that, we roll that. Do we decide our air patrol now? I think we do, but I got to double check that. Well, I think we do prepare them for the. I think we do prepare for the combat air patrol first. So looking at who I've got to fly with, I'm going to send a couple of pilots up. I'm going to send a couple pairs of pilots up. So I'm going to send I'm making notes in. I'll just show what kind of notes I'm making in my logbook. Yes, my handwriting's terrible, but at least I can read it. So right now I'm starting to make notes on my combat air patrol. So I'm looking at the Wildcats, I'm going to send my XO, for the Wildcats, I'm sending XO Fong up with, we'll give him Tango on wing. And we'll send up Lieutenant Hunter with Inferno on wing. The other thing I don't like about that, well, it doesn't tie up most of my. I was worried about it tying up most of my Wildcats, but I think we'll be fine there. Next, we need to know what kind of mission we're heading into. That's phase 2. And because we're dealing with the weather, because we're dealing with wind gusts, we're actually going to be modifying that roll by 1. So now we're rolling on this mission type chart for what our mission's going to be. And remember, this is a -1. 4 minus 1 is a 3, so we are facing a sea mission tonight. Which means we're probably going to need more strafing pilots, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there, because now we need to roll for the Coast Watchers, and here we're probably about to see why I was going back and forth so much on whether I wanted to put a combat air patrol up. Let's see. So we're going to be rolling next on. I'm going to point out the chart that we're rolling on here. So we're on phase 3 next, since we're looking at a sea mission. We're going to be rolling for each of these locations and the names. And then, depending on what we roll, is the result. That which will be our modifier on, which will be modifiers on the sighting table to determine whether or not the reports are accurate. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. Bougainville, New Georgia, Santa Isabel. Sago Island, and West Guadalcanal. Let's see if we get any reports on what we're up against. So, we'll roll for Bougainville first, and we need a 4 to 6 to get any kind of information from them. That's a 2, so we don't get anything from Bougainville. How about New Georgia? That's going to take a 1 to 4. That's a 3, so of course we get nothing. Santa Isabel. That's a 4, which gives us nothing again. Good grief. Savo Island needs a 1 to 3. That's a 4, so we actually get a +1 modifier there. +1 mountain above Panueli. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that. And then West Guadalcanal. Gives us exactly Bubkiss, to my lack of surprise. Alright, then we skip over the... Then we'd have the radar plots next, except we're too early for that, so we skip over that. Now we have to figure out what our reported Japanese forces are. So on a sea mission... So for a sea mission, we're rolling on this chart. And once again, we need a single D6 for that. Which modifies based on... Actually, I don't think there are any modifiers on this one because we're also on... I kind of glossed over it, but on this chart of essentially the victory point track over the course of the campaign, we're starting right now on Japan advancing. So no modifiers on tables 5 and 16, thankfully. Let's see what we've got here. 4 is reporting to be... 4 is reporting to be transports. So 4 transports and 6 A6M zeros with 1 ace. Just going to make some notes here. Reported force. 4 transports, 6 A6M zero with 1 ace. Okay. Now we need to decide if we're going to send anybody else up. We're going to have the Wildcats to predominantly dogfight with the zeros. Let's see, who else do we want to send up on this mission? We didn't have any kind of runway modifiers from last night, so from our previous mission, so we don't have any problems there. Now we need to decide who else we're sending up. Do I have any more Wildcats that I can send up? Fong's already up. He's got Tango with him. I could send Foxtrot and Flash up, and I think I will. So on the F4F, we're going to send up one more element. Oops. As part of my squadron goes flying on me. So we've got Lieutenant Foxtrot with Flash on wing. Let's see. Then I'm going to send some strafing aircraft up as well. I will send some of our P400s up. We'll send Lieutenant Kinner with Reno on wing. And then from the SBD, who do we have there that we can send up? We have... Okay. So from the SBD squadron, they're good for primarily bombing. I'll send up Lieutenant Banks with... I'll send Banks with Hell on wing. Need to make some notes on the squadron of who's going where. Let's see. You're on patrol. Patrol. Hunter and Inferno on patrol. It would help if I can actually spell. Right, Inferno's on patrol. F4F, I sent Foxtrot and Flash on wing. And I've got Kinner and Reno on the C mission, and I believe it was Banks and Hell. Okay, so that's all set up, and I'm going to take a small break here before we get into our takeoffs, because I need to do a little bit of camera setup. Forget everything I said about the possible transport mission. I didn't see in the special note that the 24th of August actually starts with a C mission against Cruiser Task Force A. So I've got that set up instead, but we need to see if anybody gets up into the air. So that'll bring us down to this table for Phase 7 for takeoff and landing accidents. We'll roll 2d6, modify the roll by 1, and then we'll take the result of that. So we're going to go through each pilot and see if they get into the air. So Fong, our XO, is up first. We'll see what he rolls. Uh-oh. 3 minus 1 is a 2, so his AC is destroyed. So actually we crash. So I'm just following this through. So on a 3 or less, which modifies down to a 2, the airplane, the F4F that he's piloting crashes. Aircraft is destroyed, and then we have to roll a d6 for the injury. On a 1 to 2, he's killed in action. On a 3, he suffers a serious wound, which will mean he's transferred to Espiritu Santo and eventually to the U.S. to heal. And 4 to 6 is a light wound, which will roll d6 for how long he's out. So first we have to roll for his wound. A 4, I believe, translated. Nope, that's a light wound. Somehow he survived that on the runway, and then he's out for d6 days. He's out for another 6 days. Good grief. Out 6 days. Which means I'm going to come onto my roster sheet. I'm going to find Fong, and I'm going to put in injured and count off 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's unavailable to fly for the next 6 days. That's a problem. Next we'll see if Tango gets into the air. Same table that we're rolling on. Six minus 1 is a 5, which means he crashes, but there's no damage. Oh boy. Now, this is apparently historically accurate, but it just gets so frustrating sometimes. Let's see, so that modified to a 2, that modified to a 5, which means now we're rolling for an injury for, this is Tango. 5 is no injury, so he'll walk it off. Then looking at Hunter, he'll be up next, trying to get off the runway at Henderson Field, which was apparently absolutely terrible. From what I've been hearing in the background for this game, the Americans apparently lost more planes to runway conditions than to the Japanese at Guadalcanal. So this game does a great job of emulating that, even if my story is turning into one of pain and despair. 9 minus 1 is 8, so Hunter gets off the ground with a good takeoff. Inferno was supposed to be his wingman, so let's see if Inferno follows him off the ground. Six minus 1 is 5. He does not, so he's going to crash with no damage. And we roll for an injury. 1 to 3 is a light wound. 4 to 6, he walks it off. 6, he walks it off. Thank goodness. Let's see, what does Foxtrot roll? Let's find out. Four minus 1 is 3. So we have a crash aircraft is damaged, it'll be ready for us again on the next game day. And then we have to roll for what happens to Foxtrot. This time we want to see a 3 to 6 actually. 1 will be get him killed, 2 is a serious wound. So 1 to 2 he's out. That's a 2, so that'll be a serious wound and he will transfer out. Great. That's another one as part of the walking wounded. So he's out as well. Delightful. Let's see what Flash is doing now. Eight minus 1 is 7. He's got a good takeoff. So we need one. So we'll need 1 element of F4F Wildcats. I'm just going to start making some notes here. So new elements, we've got Lieutenant Hunter with Flash on wing. That's an F4F. Now we're on to our... Right, now we're onto our bombing and strafing aircraft. So Kinner's up first with his takeoff. Let's see what he rolls. 9 minus 1 is 8. He's off the ground. So we'll need at least a single element of P400s. My counters are right now plain computer paper, but hopefully that'll probably be different by the time this game gets back to the channel. Let's see if he gets his wingman up with him, Reno. Nope. 11 minus 1 is 10. He's off the ground. Just making some notes here. And let's see what our SBDs can do. So that one flips over. We'll take a look at what the counters actually mean in a second, but I want to see if my SBDs, being my bombing aircraft, get off the ground. So Banks up first. 6 minus 1 is 5. Banks doesn't get off the ground. That's another crash. No damage. And then we've got to roll, hopefully a 4 to 6. That's a 4, so no injury for Banks. And let's see what Hell does. Nine minus 1's 8. Hell's off the ground. So he'll be a solo element, unfortunately. Since we can't form him into a full pair element. Let's see, that's the Dauntless. Okay, so those are off the ground. Now we'll take a look at what the counters actually represent. So we'll just use one of these F4F Wildcats for demonstration purposes. So you'll see 4 numbers on here. The 5 is what they need if they're in what they need to hit if they're in a dogfight. 3 is what they need to defend with. 4 is their strafing number or bombing run, and the only way that's notated is as part of the charts. And then the number of victory points they're worth to the side that shoots them down. So yeah, this is going to be fun. And then we're up against we're up against our task force over here of 4 destroyers, a cruisers up here, and 2 transports. Now this is going to be a fairly short mission because we can only strafe once. But that brings us into the first cruiser task force box, which, if I remember the order correctly, anti-air goes first. And I believe that's everything that's got anti-air can fire. Yes, so anti-air goes first, which means I believe that's the... I think I have another set of tables for that. Yes. So the... Yikes. Oh, this is going to be fun. Each Japanese destroyer. We've got 4 destroyers. That is going to be a lot of dice. Yeah. So each destroyer has 2d6, and the cruiser has 3, so that's going to be a total of 96 they're rolling? Yikes. Alright, 1 cruiser for 3. And then 4 destroyers. That's actually 11d6. This is going to be ugly. And we've only got 5 planes. So the one good thing here is that they get hit. They only can score hits on a 6. So let me just count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. Yowza, this is going to suck. Alright, so aircraft firing. Actually, it's only the destroyers that fire from the looks of it. So that's something. But still, that's 8d6. That's gonna... We're gonna take a beating on this one, I'm sure of it. Right, we don't get to roll any kind of... Oh! On a... Wait a minute. Determine which element was affected. Has a defend value. Okay, so it looks like... Okay, I'm going to pause this so I can get this straight, because this isn't making sense to me at initial glance. In my playthroughs, I haven't done much with anti-aircraft artillery combat, so just needed to read that to get it straight. But I've got 8d6 in here for the 4 destroyers that are attacking, so we need to roll for... So we want to see no 6s here, ideally. We get 1d6. We get 1 6, which is unfortunate, but there's no help. There's nothing we can do about that. But now we have to roll for which element is affected by that. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to go 1 2 for the P400s, 3 4 for the SBD3, and 5 6 for the Wildcats. To determine who's affected. Yep. Alright, a 5 means that the Wildcats are affected, so we'll roll again to see if the pilot or the wingman is affected. In this case, we'll be rolling 1 2 3 for Hunter, 4 5 6 for Flash. Hunter being the pilot, Flash being the wingman. Alright, so they're aiming at Hunter. And they have a defend value of 3, so we have to roll a 3 or less to defend. Actually, yeah, we have to roll a 3 or less to successfully defend. That's a 1, so Hunter managed to defend the attack. Okay, next up, I believe we have... Next up would be dogfights, but we don't have any planes that we're taking on in this one. Right? Yes, dogfights. So now we do bombing runs, which is only the... Actually, who bombs? There are a couple of units that bomb. And strafe. Okay, so bombing is the SBD-3 Dauntless and the Bel Air and the P400. So we'll have them take aim at at the cruiser. The P400 they both need 3s to hit, and neither one of them have any special officers, so it's just going to be 1d6 per element. In this case, we have the 2, so 2d6. And they need a 3 or higher, actually, to hit. Actually, what's a better idea? A better idea might be to just aim at... Actually, I think we're going to aim at the one of the destroyers instead. Because it'll be a little easier to sink them. Even though cruisers are worth more victory points, the destroyers will actually be a little easier to take out. And we can have the P400s go over for a second strafing pass. So we're rolling for both of them. That's a 6 and a 3, so they both hit. So we score 2 hits. All right, let me just make some notes here. I had a lot of rolls, so a 6 for 1 hit. Hunter defended. Let's see, bombing. We rolled a 3 and a 6, so 2 hits. Which means we'll roll for credit on those. The way we'll do that is we'll go 1, 2, 3 for the P400, 4, 5, 6 for the SBD Dauntless on both of those. A 5 means Hell gets credit for the first hit. And for the second hit, looks like Hell gets that one as well. That doesn't make sense though. We're gonna go. Well, that's the way we decided. We roll for credit for each hit individually. I think we do. Let me look. Hits are rolled. I do think we roll for each hit individually. So it looks like Hell picked up 2 hits on that one. Then we're going to strafe. Everything's going to strafe the destroyer that we just hit. Which means if we score any hits, we'll do the roll that way, but we need 3d6 on strafing because everybody's going to strafe. And we have 2 hits on this destroyer, and we need 2 more to sink it. Let's see, that's a 2, 3, 4, so no more hits, so no hits there. Which is unfortunate, but there's no help for that. But since we have strafed, I believe everything but the P400 has to break off. So the F4Fs and the SBD3s are going to turn for home, which means the P400 is stuck there for another round of combat. So we move into the second task force, which means the destroyers are firing again. We need 8d6 for this one. This time I'm actually going to remember to note my rolls. Once again, for the anti-air, we want to see no 6s. We get another 1. So just making a note of the rolls, we got 2 1s, 2 2s, wait, 2, 4, should have been 1 more die, 2, 4, 6, okay, never mind. We got 2 2s, 3 3s, and a 6, so they rolled 1 hit. All right, we'll get that out of the way. And we'll roll 1, 2, 3 for Kinner, 4, 5, 6 for Reno as for who's affected. 2 is Kinner, so we want to see a 2 or a 1. That's a 3, so Kinner's shot down. Which means we'll need to roll to see what his fate is. which will bring me to the pilot bailout chart. So we're going to be rolling a D6 on a ship attack. We want to see a 1, 2, or a 3 on this one. That's a 1, so we managed to bail out. We got to find out what his injury is next as well, which will bring us to the pilot injury chart. Two is an insignificant injury, so that'll make finding him easier. Right, no dogfights, no bombing. And, okay, let me flip that over. We're not going to get another hit on the... We're not going to be able to sink the... We're not going to be able to sink this destroyer that we were working on, but we can at least see if we can hit it again. We need a 3. We need a 3 or below. Actually, we need... Yeah, 3 or above, actually. That's a 2, so no hit. Alright, so now he's got to break off and turn for home as well, which means that part of the mission is effectively over. Wait. Only, yeah, strafe twice. So, I believe it's strafe twice and then they have to break off. Which means the mission would effectively be over at that point, right? Yes, cannot participate in future for which they're required to break off. Okay. Right, so it looks like we do have to break off at this point. So Kinner has been hit and shot down, so we're actually all the way over here. Now we need to go to landing, and I'm going to set that up, once again turning off the camera for a second. Now we have to roll for landing, so we're right back to... Where is it? Here we are. So we're right back to our landing chart from phase 7. So first up we have Hunter trying to land. Nine minus 1 is 8, so he'll have a good landing. Up next is Flash, who's part of the F4F extra pilots, and he's turning for home. 6 minus 1 is 5. We've been having a lot of these crashes. Crash. No damage. And we roll for his injury. No injury, thankfully. Then for Reno, four minus 1 is a 3. Yikes. We're still modifying because of the wind gusts we had earlier. So Reno, crash, AC damaged. That was a 3. So now we want to see a 3 to 6 for a light wound. Right? 3 to 6? Yes. A 4, okay, so a 4, right, is a light wound. Which means he is out for 1 day. So he thankfully he got scratched in comparison. Reno injured, and he's out for 1 day. Last up is Hell with our only 2 hits of the day. So let's see what happens here. Okay, Hell is taking a crash as well. Let's see what he rolls. Hopefully something high. A 4 4 is good enough for a light wound. Let's see how long he's out. He's out for 2 days. That's not terrible. More walking wounded. I don't think we even have enough to... I think even if we roll an additional mission, I don't think we physically have enough pilots to put another... Well... I don't think we even have enough to put up... Oh, Hunter was actually a flight leader, so I forgot to roll an extra die for him, but it didn't end up mattering ultimately. I'm not going to worry about rewinding that now. But I'm just looking at my squadron right now. Even if I roll an additional mission, I don't think I have enough to... Actually, that should have been a C mission. I don't think I have enough to send another squadron up. So in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, now I'm rolling on this additional mission chart, if it'll ever focus for me. So a 3 to 6 means there's no additional mission today. A 1 to 2 means we'd restart back from phase 1, but looking at my squadron right now, I don't think I have enough pilots to physically fly an additional mission today. So we'll roll for the sake of completeness, but I don't think I'm sending another mission up today. A 4 means we wouldn't have to anyway, so that's a relief. That's the first thing in our end of mission assessment. So now we move into our disease and infection check. So basically we're just going to be following... Basically we're going to be following these charts from one right after the other. So... rolling first for phase 12, checking for diseases and infections. I'm just going to make some notes here. A 5 means we have no infections, thankfully. Then Pistol Pete Artillery to see if anything hits Henderson Field. That'll be another D6 roll. Advancing the phase as well. We want to see a high roll here. 2. 3 salvos, but nothing hit, thankfully. That's a relief. We don't need to be taking more punishment. Washing Machine Charlie for bombing runs. A 6 means there were no hits. Let's see, Night Infiltration. Alright, that's another D6 roll. Hopefully we don't have another hit. A 4 is no Night Infiltration, thankfully. And Louis the Louse with night bombardment, with naval bombardment. All right. Let's see what happens here. Hoping for a 6. So of course we roll a 1, which is 1d6 hits. This is going to be fun. Now I want to roll low. Like, really low. Four hits is not low. Alright, so I'm also losing at least 10 barrels of fuel. Because I tried to put 10 planes up. So now I'm rolling on this hit resolutions table. I should be able to roll these. Actually, I'll just roll all 4 hits at once. Actually, no. I'll just roll them one at a time. That's fine. Probably make more sense if you're able to see how each hit resolves anyway. So first roll up is a 3, which means I get 1 aircraft randomly destroyed. So what do I have available right now? I have an F4F. 1 to 2 is going to be a Wildcat. 3 to 4 is an SBD. 5 to 6 is a P400. 5 is a P400. In addition to the P400, we already lost when Kinner went down. So that's 2. That is not good at all. Which means our SBD pilots might not be able to fly. Next up is a 6 for insignificant damage. Thank God. Next up, a 4, which is a runway, so -1 to takeoffs for the next mission. And I'm still waiting for the hammer to drop on me on my next air combat. Because I had an event earlier. And last up, a 2 for bivouac again. Give me a break. So I'm getting D3 pilots hit on this one. Let's find out how many I'm getting hit. There's going to be a D3, divide the result by 2. So I'm getting 3 pilots hit. Let's find out who I'm getting hit. If I roll for... how did I roll this? I think I'm going to roll 2d20 for this one. And if I roll a number that's not available, I'm just going to roll again. Wait a minute, I had a problem with 1s, so... Oh, right. Let me think how I wanted to do this. I think we're going to go... Actually, I think we'll roll a No, I don't want to roll a percentile either. I think that's where I came up with the 2d20 idea. I'll figure out by the time this game hits the channel again, I'll have another way to do this. But I'm going to start with 1 being my my F4Fs, over to my SBD, or over to my P400s. Anything above a 40, actually anything above a 36 will be a reroll. Let's see, 15 and 1 and 7 is 22, 19, 21, 2. He was already killed in action, so we'll have to reroll that. $34, 4, 5, 6. He was also killed in action. Oop, come on. There we go. 15. He can take another shot. That's Hurricane. So we'll roll for him. So Hurricane is going to be taking a... we'll find out. Hurricane's going to be taking a 1 to 2, a serious wound, 3 to 6, a light wound. That's a serious wound, so he's going to be transferred out. Jeez. So never mind the light wound plan. The serious wound, he's out. So our next pilot who's getting hit. Let's see, 25, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Baker can take a hit, unfortunately. Let's see what he rolls. He's getting a light wound. Out for 6 days. Good grief. And our last pilot, who's getting hit on this bivouac, 23, 19, 21, 2, 3. Already serious wound transferred out. 23, 19, 21, 2, 3. Still serious wounded. 27, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 6, 7. Yep, Lynch can take a hit. Unfortunately, let's find out what he's getting dealt. 6 is a light wound. Out. Ay, ay, ay. 4 days. One, 2, 3, 4. Good grief. I'm just looking at the squadron here, but we got to roll to see if we have a random event. So we're on the random events table. We have to roll 1d6. On a 1 to 2, we get a random event. 3 to 6, we don't. 3 means no random event. That's a relief. And this has been another rough day. And that will do it for this playthrough of MAG-23 Guadalcanal. I'm going to finish doing a little bit of bookkeeping. So we have 2. We lost another. Oh, right, we lost another F4F. We didn't lose any SBDs, thankfully. Alright, so we spent 4, 6, 0, which means we're down to 180 fuel for our next mission. But that will, like I said, that will do it for this playthrough of MAG-23 Guadalcanal. Another rough day where we had 2 more pilots transfer out, where we had 2 more pilots suffer serious wounds and end up getting transferred. Well, actually, wait a minute. We got to roll for our end-of-day pilot status. So we've got to roll to see what happens with Kinner. End-of-day pilot status, so we're not over land. We want to see ideally a 4 or a 6. That's a 6, so Kinner actually returns to duty, thankfully. That's a relief. So at least we don't lose another pilot, as if we didn't have enough problems on that front. So he'll be back to fly, but that will do it for this playthrough of MAG-23 Guadalcanal. Sunday, the fall campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game, continues with the 6th scenario, Return to the Pallid Mask. Next week, we're going to debut another new game on the channel as we play Age of Innovation from Fuhrland Spiel. I probably made some mistakes in the comment in this playthrough, so be nice in the comments section below, please. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.